This is an Arts Alive special, and I'm Lynda Phillippi, and we're here today to talk about The Nerd, the play opening up at Gallery Theater on October 14th. And my guests today are Jason Yates, Alice Darnton, and Chris Benham. So welcome.
Hello.
Thank you.
I'm glad you guys could all come today. It kind of all came together, didn't it?
Yeah.
For a special.
Yes.
So we're just about on top of this nerd play, and you want to talk about it a little bit? How's it going?
It's going really good. We've been practicing for about a month. We've been going 4 days a week. Lines are finally starting to come in. The blocking's starting to happen.
Our set is almost done.
Yeah, the set is almost done. We're still making some last-minute changes, but things are looking really good for opening next Friday.
That's great. So if you might have to be sewn into your costume as you're walking out on the stage, huh?
Not quite that bad.
Okay.
Luckily, we have normal clothes.
Well, I was gonna
Yeah.
say,
There may still be some wet paint, but that's
Yeah.
normal.
Well, it's nice that it's a fairly modern play. It's set in the 80s, did you say?
Yeah, it's about 80, 81 is usually the general time frame.
But it's not obnoxiously 80s, a la, I don't know.
Yeah, we don't have a Flock of Seagulls soundtrack or anything.
Okay. Is there music at all?
Yes,
a little
yeah,
bit,
but it's
yes.
from more the 20s.
Oh, I see. Okay.
It's there. That's one of the jokes in the play. Has to do with the outdated nature of all the characters.
Oh, I see. Okay.
But there is some live music, but we won't talk about that
Oh, yes.
until you see
Okay,
it.
right.
Oh,
Okay.
yes.
Right.
We don't want to
One
spoil
of the
anything.
characters is a musician.
I see. Okay.
Or an aspiring musician,
Yes.
at least. He's learning.
So, Alice, do you want to talk a little bit about your character?
Oh, yeah, sure. So, Willem is our protagonist, and his boss, Warnock Walgrave, shows up at his birthday party, not knowing it's his birthday party, and brings along his wife and son, and I'm the wife, and Ethan Ewing is the son.
Evan.
And Evan. Ooh, pardon me. There was an Ethan and an Evan.
He would definitely come and talk to you about that.
Oh, yeah, okay. And I am a pretty ineffectual parent. I'm really nervous, and my director described my character as a fruitcake, which is pretty fun to play. And her only sort of vent for her frustration and anxiety throughout the course of this night, which is really kind of a crazy dinner party, is to break small pieces of china. So it's always fun. She's pulling out a handkerchief and taking Tansy, the girlfriend's, small demi-tasse saucers and smashing them to bits. It's fun.
So you're running through a lot of Goodwill china on stage.
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
guessing.
yeah. We're definitely going to the Goodwill for a lot of this stuff.
Wow, how fun. And what about you, Chris?
My character, his name is Axel Hammond, and he is Willem, the protagonist's
Friend and tenant.
friend and tenant. I think we're safe to assume that he's the best friend.
Yes.
It's never said as
Does
such.
he like live downstairs?
Yeah,
or
he lives
something?
downstairs in an apartment below Willem, and he is a theater critic.
Oh, okay.
Hence why he can't own his own place.
Right.
But he is a free spirit. He's very sardonic, very kind of cynical, but sarcastic, and has a very biting sense of humor, but also a very dry sense of humor. And so when we encounter characters such as the Walgraves, who don't...
Oh, we're pretty dry ourselves, but in a different way.
Yes. They don't get Axel's humor.
At all.
And so he takes great pleasure in playing with people that don't understand him. And so I get to have a lot of fun with making up stories about myself. I think at one point I claimed to be a consumer market analyst, a researcher, and throw poor Warnock Walgrave for a loop with stories of how I've reshaped major corporations.
Oh, okay. I
So-
see.
Johnson's Merrill-Delay.
Yeah. So, which is a lot of fun. It's not that unlike myself, and so or things that I would like to say, but am too kind to strangers.
You're too well-mannered.
I am.
That's the thing.
I'm too sweet. That's
Yeah.
really what it comes down to.
So there you go. And then you, obviously, are the nerd's rescue.
Yes. Well, no, he actually rescues me.
Okay.
I was in Vietnam, got wounded, passed out from loss of blood, This gentleman, Rick Stedman, comes, drags me through the mile and a half through the jungle, and saves me. I've never seen him. I've only been able to write him, but I've never even seen a photo of him. I've promised him my life, that he can come over to my house anytime. On my birthday, he decides to drop in unannounced.
Oh, okay.
And so that's when I meet him, and we find out he's a total social outcast with no sense of how to work within norms of humanity. And so it's a struggle. And so I go from basically an emotionless character to just completely losing it at points because I don't know how to handle this extreme change in my life.
And that's what it's about. That's what the play's about.
That is what it's about.
Okay, and so Jeff Sargent plays the nerd, is
Yeah,
that correct?
Jeff Sargent plays the character Rick Stedman, who is from Wisconsin, and is the he's rescued Willem in Vietnam, and because Willem fell unconscious from his wounds, he didn't wake up until he was in the hospital in Japan, and so that's why they've never met. And so, yeah, Jeff plays that and does an amazing job.
Yes.
For people who are familiar with Jeff, he's done a lot of shows at Gallery. Most recently was Don't Dress for Dinner, which a lot of people came to see.
We saw it twice.
Yeah, great show. He does a wonderful job of creating this character of Rick Stedman, and really pushing the envelope. And we end up getting to react to a lot of things, and our reactions are fairly realistic because what is happening on stage is so from out of left field. It just throws us for a loop.
It's pretty easy to seem surprised a lot of times, even when we're just rehearsing. So,
yeah, especially when he comes up with a new read for something. He's done that a few times where he said something and we've been like, oh wow,
That's good. That's funny.
and his wife, Julia Sargent, is also in it.
she plays Willen's
plays my
girlfriend.
girlfriend.
Okay, perfect. So now, have you done other gallery productions?
I have only done one other production, and it just finished last week. It was Into the Woods. I played Rapunzel's prince.
Okay. Okay. Oh, you were the prince. All right, we saw
Yes.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
You were good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That was actually my first theater show. I had never done theater before then.
So how was it in terms of like working on one show, performing in another show? You must have been pretty busy.
Yes, I was very busy the last couple of weeks. It was 7 days a week for about 4 weeks in a row. And so it took a lot of time away from my wife and my little 2-year-old son, but they support me. They know that I love doing this, and this is my hobby. So I've done a lot of film productions before, but I wanted to get some theater experience, work with live people instead of just 2 or 3 people at one time. And so I've really enjoyed it. The cast is great on this production. I'm glad that it's a lot smaller than Into the Woods. There were 19 people in Into the Woods. There's only 7 here, so I'm actually able to get to know my cast a little better, which makes it more realistic when we act together and perform.
Yeah, it's very much an ensemble show, which is so much fun to do because you get really close to the characters as well as to each other as actors, and it can be a lot of fun.
I was going to ask you about that without a whole lot of time to prepare, and I've never met you before either, so I'm guessing that you might be fairly new to gallery?
Yeah, I started off doing Annie in November of 2010, and then after that I did a few. Arsenic and Old Lace and Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, which were happening just like him at the same time pretty much, so they were overlapping.
So, I mean, it's kind of fun, though, to just to get to know people and kind of build this whole thing together from the ground up.
Oh, yeah. It's like, we have Jeff and Julia Sargent and I have been around gallery for a while.
Right.
And we've known each other really well for quite some time. And I've known Alice for a while, since Annie. This is my first time working with Jason. But we also have Zach Martin, who has done a number of productions at Gallery.
Including Annie.
Including Annie, and I met him when he played Grandpa Joe in our production of Willy Wonka, when opposite my Willy Wonka. And so Zach is a lot of fun to work with.
He's actually great.
Oh, he's so funny, and
Yeah.
he does such a great job as your husband.
Oh yeah, yeah.
He's
He really does.
okay, yeah.
He's fun to play off of. What's funny about him too is that he'll make snide comments to me during rehearsals. So I mean, we spend much of the first act that we're there together, sitting on the couch side by side, reacting to what's going on around us. So he'll like nudge me and say something really sardonic, and I'll be trying not to laugh the whole time. It's pretty awesome.
So it's fun and amusing, and it keeps things lively.
Yeah.
And it's just so much fun to have a nice mix of people that have been around, who are very familiar faces to the theater, to the crowds that are coming, and people that not everyone is familiar with.
Exactly.
And then we have Evan Ewing, who plays Thor, your son, who is, his family is obviously, Adam Ewing has played Rick Steadman in the last time that the show was produced. And his mother, Tracy, is the theater manager.
Right, okay.
And so,
How old is Evan?
10 or 12?
Oh, okay.
11?
Somewhere in there.
So
He's young.
Okay.
Yeah, so he's younger.
I was
He's the
thinking,
fireball, though. He's
when he
nice.
was, you were talking about having the son, I thought, well, is he like 3 or 4, or is
Oh,
he a
no,
bigger
he's-
boy? Okay,
Yeah.
so.
And so, the Ewings are fixtures at the theater as well. Austin has been in a lot of shows. And so we have this kind of interesting cross-section of the theater
That's fun.
community.
That's
and it's a
great.
lot of fun. It's a lot of fun.
So now, where are you from?
I'm originally from Atlanta, Georgia.
Okay.
And just moved here a few years back.
And so since you've been here, you've been involved with other theater companies or just film?
No, this is only the second theater show that I've been in.
Okay.
I was in Into the Woods and now The Nerd. I will be in the Christmas Carol later this year in
Okay.
Valley Repertory Theater in Newburgh. But that's my extent of theater experience. I actually moved here to go to film school at Portland State.
Oh.
So I'm going to school there while I'm working full time and doing the plays. So
And with a
it's very
two-year-old.
I didn't know
challenging.
that, so
Really?
learning something here.
So you want to be a filmmaker, is that it?
I actually want to do screenwriting.
Okay.
That's what I'm working on.
Oh, interesting.
Got a couple of side projects I'm trying to work on.
Cool, that's great. Wow. And I know Deborah, the director, Deborah Johansson, she said she's also directing a high school play.
Yeah, she's the drama teacher at Mac High. So she's got another show going on that's rehearsing right after school, and then she comes over to the theater and we rehearse. The Nerd, she's busy right now.
Sounds like everybody's kind of multitasking, huh?
Yeah.
Lot going on. Everybody's juggling, but that's the nature of community theater, isn't it?
Yes.
That you have to juggle it in between your.
We have lives and jobs,
Yes.
and we can't devote all of our time to this. But I mean, it's our hobby, and it's what we love to do, which is why we're involved.
Have you done a lot of theater at other theaters besides Gallery?
Not really. I did a little bit in high school. I was in Godspell in high school in Anacortes, Washington, which is
really?
where
Okay.
I was before. And then when I moved here in August of last year for my job, I work as a reference librarian at McMinnville Public Library.
Nice.
I decided to get involved in community theater because it's such a great theater community, really. I mean, like, it's very much out there, and they do some really great productions. So I was happy to get involved, and here I am.
That's fabulous. So, I mean, I guess I'd say the biggest challenge then in terms of this play has probably just been trying to squeeze in the time, make the commitment, because once you're there, it sounds like it's all coming together rather well.